Greetings everyone, Gaming Emblem here, and welcome to my first look at an upcoming mobile suit for Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation 2, the Sinanju Stein. Before we get started, I would like to thank everyone at BB Studios and Bandai Namco for giving the channel the opportunity to get a sneak peek at this new suit, and remind everyone that any of the stats and skills could be subject to change before the official release. With that out of the way, let's begin. Now, they'll be fooled by the rarity of my videos, since it's just a placeholder. The Sinanju Stein, known to be piloted by Zoltan from Gundam Narrative, is actually a 4-star 700 cost raid. Stein comes in at 78 total points for his defensive stats, same as the Banshee. A good start so far, since the suit will need to be able to at least meet the performance of its predecessor to get a spot in the meta. It does look like ballistic resist is a bit on the short end though, so suits like Super Gundam may be able to possibly exploit that in combat. Offensive stats total in at 70, with a 45-25 split in favor of range. This is actually the same split as the Banshee before NTD, so once again it looks like BB is trying to keep the suit in line with its fellow raid. Its other stats also happen to fall in line with a non-NTD Banshee, aside from thrust and turning speed, which is 10 and 3 higher respectively. Also, just as a reminder, these stats could be changed from the time of the making of this video, but so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. Going into Stein's weapons, we have his primary ranged weapon, the High Beam Rifle. Clocking in at 1500 power, this E-Cap rifle has 8 shots, 450 meter range, and can be charged. It's also interesting to note that the Beam Rifle has less power than a Delta Plus, which has 1850 power at level 2, and at 4 seconds, the High Beam Rifle also takes an extra second to charge. That being said though, Delta Plus can only fire 5 uncharged shots, or 1 charged shot and 1 uncharged shot before overheating, while the High Beam Rifle can fire 8 shots per clip, regardless of charge or uncharge. While weapon management makes up for that while playing the Delta, I hope that the reduced damage does not impede Stein's ability to poke, since you get an extra 150 meter range with the Stein. The rifle can stun in 2 shots, which implies that it does at least 50% stun buildup per shot. The note for the weapon also states that it does not suppress, so it looks like no flinching with this one. Regardless of that, I think this will be a powerful tool for shutting down any mobile suit that comes your way, or gets in your way for that matter. Stein's primary melee weapon is the Sinanju Stein Beam Saber, and comes in at 3100 base power with a 3-second charge on its heavy attack that cools down in 2 seconds. 3100 on melee is a powerhouse compared to the Stein's peers like Banshee, which comes in at 2950 for its Beam Saber, and is only 150 power shy of the 3250 power of the Banshee's Armed Armor VN. I would love to see the modifiers for damage for the heavy attack in each swing direction, and I hope the heavy attack at least comes in around 350 to 400% to make up for the lower base melee stat. I could see the number being around 350% since the cooldown and charge time in this weapon is very low, and you have its Psycho Frame, which we'll cover in a bit more detail shortly, that reduces the heavy attack charge time by 50%. That's the same charge time as the Banshee's heavy attack, and is just a bit slower than the 1.3 second charge time for the Hazel Unit 2. This could allow you to use the heavy attack as an opener, and maybe even dodge roll cancel into another heavy attack while your opponent is on the ground. And any support you run into should be waiting for respawn by the time you finish up, and you'll likely leave most generals crying after connecting with a couple of those. Next up, we have a mobile suit staple, Vulcans. Boasting 185 power, 30 ammo, and 180 meter range, these Vulcans pack more of a punch than notable suits like New Gundam, Unicorn, and Banshee. It looks like it only takes about 15 or 16 shots to stun a normal target, making this a very powerful rushdown weapon since you can use them while boosting. You'll be bearing down and deleting any support that gets into Vulcan range with ease. Continuing with Stein's sub-weapons, we have a very interesting weapon, the Sinanju Bazooka. Going off the stats and name, this appears to be the exact same sub-weapon that normal Sinanju has as well. Having a reliable bazooka for either setting up a ranged stun chain, or just an opener to stun build combos makes this weapon a powerful option. With 2900 power and 400 meter range, you should be able to have a good option at both mid and close ranges. Moving on to Stein's skills, you have the usual suspects for most high-cost raids like Assault Booster, Maneuver Armor, Force Injector, and Melee Combo Controller. And I'm always excited to see Anti-Blast Stabilizer on my raids, but it's a bit of a shame that the suit does not have offense system. Alvita is a trade-off though, since Stein comes with a power combo that is Flexible Thruster and Flight Control Program. Like the Ribabu and the Sinanju, you can do a short hop and then use Force Injector to activate Flexible Thruster while boosting in the air to get a speed boost, as well as a massive reduction to your boost consumption thanks to Flight Control and Flexible Thruster lowering your boost meter consumption. Like most 4-star suits, Stein also gets a special counter, but the most noteworthy are its two unique skills, Active Purge and Psycho Frame Resonance Z. Active Purge is used when you press a touchpad, and Stein performs a backflip and ejects the propellant tank stored on its back. This action can be used while boosting, and as a means to add extra damage or actions to an attack combo. It also puts the unit it hits into a heavy stun. This will be an amazing tool for both offense and defense, since you can use it while engaging for a reliable setup, extra damage, or just to buy time to run away. The only downside, aside from seeming to only be usable once, is that using the skill increases your boost consumption when the tanks are gone. I do not have the exact number for the increase, but I cannot imagine this being too big of an impediment, since you can always fall back on Flexible Thruster and Flight Control to reduce your boost consumption, or most likely you will have respawned in a reasonable time after using the Purge. Then we have Psycho Frame Resonance Z. This skill, like other Psycho Frame skills, activates at a certain HP threshold. In Stein's case, 50% health. Upon activation, you can ignore a stun effect that triggered the Psycho Frame activation, and you also get a currently unspecified boost to your melee stat, a 50% reduction to your heavy attack charge time, making it 1.5 seconds, and you take 50% less damage from melee attacks. This should hopefully act as a bit of a deterrent to some smug unicorn taking you to Combo Town, since that will greatly reduce the damage you will take from the usual Unicorn Wombo combo. It's a shame you don't get any range damage reduction, but honestly, since this is a 50% reduction to melee rather than Unicorn's 20% overall reduction, I like the extra 30% on top that focuses on one damage type. Overall, I am very excited to get a chance to play Sinanju Stein upon its release, and while I still think it will have to share a seat with the Banshee, this looks to have the potential to be a strong contender at 700. The high beam rifle will allow you to punch through most threats, like a wildly swinging unicorn. Active Purge will make anyone who sees your propellant tanks attached be just a bit more wary, and Psycho Frame Resonance Z will allow you to truly embody Zoltan and be a true menace on the battlefield. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed this early look and analysis on the Sinanju Stein. Feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you think about the suit, and make sure to check out my Twitch stream in the description. I make most of my content live, and you can catch me online playing GBO2 or some other Gundam games.